The language that is spoken universal right now is simple: adapt or die. You know why? Because of the rise of AI and technology. And that is why, as a young person in Africa, you must pay close attention to the kind of information I'm going to be sharing with you on this particular video, and share it to your family and friends. You see, you can't continue to measure your success based on where you are seated right now. You are seated in Ghana, you are seated in Nigeria, Congo, Burundi, Rwanda. That is not how to measure success. Today, your knowledge and your skill must be able to stand the test of global relevance, else there is no place for you in the future. This is a fact that must be detailed into the psyche of young people in Africa. You can't continue to play it like a dummy and expect to be recognized globally. No. You can't continue to spend your time watching entertainment and believe that someday and somehow you will be able to compete at the international scale with white people, with brown people. It doesn't happen that way. You must put in your time and invest in yourself, invest in acquiring knowledge, invest in acquiring skills, follow people who are futuristic, and join forums which people talks about kind of technologies and ideas that is going to shape the world in the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years to come. And that is the kind of things we need to be able to build Africa to the point we want it to be. You can't continue to follow the model that was laid down in the 20th century when the world is moving at a neck-breaking speed, which you should be able to measure up, and you complain about the situation in your country and your continent. That is not what you should be focusing on. You should be focusing on yourself, because success is something that is directly proportional to how someone has built his or herself. That is why if you go to any country of the world, it doesn't matter how poor that country is, you will still find people who are multi-billionaires in dollars, because they are investing in themselves. They are not busy spending time and complaining and yelling about the situation of the country. They are rebels, and that is what you should be. They look into the future and position themselves to be able to attract the kind of things that other people in the world are attracting. So as a young man, you must understand that there's a very big shift in the world today. It shocks me that most young people in Africa don't even know anything about technology. As I'm speaking to you right now, there are people in their 20s, 30s that don't know that there's something called ChatGPT. So how are you going to compete at the international scale? How can you measure up with white people? How can you measure up with Asian people? These things is something you need to understand. Life is not just measured based on buying a car and building a house. There's something called building legacy, shaping cultures, and endorsing your own ideology on people. The white man is shipping their own ideology in Africa, and we are buying it. How many ideology have we been able to ship to white people? How many ideology have we been able to ship to brown people? We have not been able to do that because we are so fixated in enjoying things that are frivolous. That has to stop. As a young person in Africa, you must pay close attention to how the world is moving. And I'm going to be laying down 10 things that has been released by the World Economic Forum, which are going to be the job of the future. And if you are not positioning to get yourself equipped in those areas, I bet you have no place in the future. And that's why our people continues to suffer and blame anything possible. Witches and wizards, village people, things that are not real, things that are illusory, not something that can be proven. So I'm going to be detailing it down. Just pay close attention as I list these things down, because the world is changing and you must change with it. Number 1 is analytical thinking. Number 2 is creative thinking. Number 3 is AI and big data. Number 4 is leadership and social influence. Number 5 is resilience, flexibility and agility. Number 6 is curiosity and lifelong learning. Number 7 is technology literacy. Number 8 is design. Number 9 is motivation and self-awareness. Number 10 is empathy and active listening. How many of these things can you boast that you have one of them? How many of the skills that you have right now and the knowledge that you have, that if they take you away from Africa where you are right now and put you in New York in America, that your knowledge or your skill can be able to hold water there, that people will recognize it? If that is not what you are planning for your life, I bet you have no place in the future. AI is automatically going to replace you. As a matter of fact, there's a saying that AI doesn't replace people. What replaces people is people that are using AI. So what you should be measuring yourself for is how to learn to use those AI, and not just only learning how to use those AI. We as a people in Africa must begin to train our kids to begin to think and adopt the ideology of God. When I say God, I do not mean the illusory word of religion. I mean creation. The word God is meant to be creating. We should not think about technology, science and AI as something that we should consume. We should think of them as the one we should own. We should be able to build apps that can rival Facebook, that can rival TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn. These things are built by people. I may not be able to have the capacity or the creativity or the technical know-how of how to do these things, but what I'm born to do is to speak life into the mind of those people who are going to do it, and that's what I'm doing right now. So if you're a young man in Africa, I want you to pay very, very close attention to the kind of things you listen to the kind of friends you keep. You must upgrade yourself. You must not stay with people who play it small and then you begin to live in, because life is about getting a car, life is about giving birth to a child, and life is about building a house. Those things are just minimal. The reason why you are born here is to shape culture. You must be able to identify your own skills and follow it up. And I'm also going to give you this. There's a website called 16personality.com. Go there, test it, and use whatever it is given to you there to begin to craft a future for yourself based on how the world is going. You cannot judge yourself based on where you are anymore. Like I keep saying, you must move on with where the world is. Nobody cares about your village. Nobody cares about your country. The standard has been set, and this is why I am befuddled. I am mystified. I am startled that so many young people in Africa doesn't have laptops, doesn't have a very powerful smartphone, and even if they do, they use it to follow all kind of stupid things, listening to sports, listening to entertainment instead of continuous learning. Every one of us is complaining about the situation of our political leaders, but none of us is complaining about our own attitude. Let me tell you, I have done my own research and I've been able to understand that there's no nation in the world that was transformed and changed by its government. It is always done by few rebels, and that is why I want most of those rebels in Africa. I don't know where you are right now, but I know you are listening to me. I want you to come out with full force, unleash that idea in your brain, back it up, stand optically, strategically, and fight to impose that idea on African people, as long as it's going to be ethical and positive to shape us as a people. That is the kind of people I want in Africa. I am tired of listening to complain, and I'm ready to listen to people who have the right ideology that is going to make Africa great again. And that's why I bring you this particular video. I just listed for you the things that is called by the World Economic Forum, the business top 10 skill of the 2027 and beyond. You can decide to put in your time, learn, or you can decide to spend it watching entertainment and sports. At the end of the day, this thing of nature will catch up with you, and by the time you get your 40s and 50s, you will realize that you have lived your life in the wrong way. And that shows you that you can run fast, but you can't run faster than nature. You see, spend your time in the right way, because that's why when you die, they say in his or in her lifetime. Your time, how you spend it, determine the legacy you build. And I would like to leave you by this word from Ayn Rand, and she said, you can avoid reality, but you cannot avoid the consequences of avoiding reality. I remain Kelechi Ogbonna, aka Captain Africa. See you at the top.